Hello and welcome to FinextraTV's Thought Leadership Series. I'm Hannah Wallace and today we're kindly joined on the call by Vinay Venkataraghavan, Cloud CTO, Prisma Cloud at Palo Alto Networks. Hello Vinay, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, Hannah. Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Brilliant to have you. So we're going to be talking about risk and security in the cloud, but before we do, it'd be great if you could tell us a bit more about yourself and your background in financial services and security.
Sure. My experience with security started 20 years ago, driven by a love for math and cryptography. But I think it's fair to say we've come a long way. And ever since, I've helped enterprise customers, especially in the financial services industry, to build distributed applications on the cloud and also helping them secure those applications as well.
All right, and speaking to customers today, could you tell us what's really keeping them up at night? What are they speaking about? And what are the top trends around risk and security in the cloud?
Sure. As we hear from our customers, I think they have four dimensions that they need to grapple with. The first being they already are leveraging cloud for a lot of their critical applications. So they need to make sure that they have the right security posture, security tools to make sure those applications are highly stay compliant because they are come under highly regulated standards, and the financial industry has very strict compliance standards. Secondly, they also have a lot of DevOps and applications teams that are innovating at a rapid pace to deliver uh, new products and services for their customers to meet the requirements of their customers. And this involves hyperscale applications, PaaS services, containers, and serverless technologies. Therefore, as you can imagine, security teams are grappling with how do they adapt and adopt their existing security capabilities to meet these new domains and abstractions. And lastly, they also worry about how, in order to truly grapple with and make sure that they have the right security posture, that security is delivered in a cloud native manner. So, to put it in context, if you think about it, a security practice at many of the institution enterprises and especially the financial institutions involves incident response, cloud migration, security architectures, vulnerability management teams. And it is absolutely critical for each of these teams to be innovating at the same pace. If one of those teams are not able to keep pace, it severely cripples the security posture, which is why a lot of the financial customers look to Palo Alto Networks as their security partner to provide this comprehensive set of security tools to meet the needs of their DevOps teams, to meet them into this new paradigm called DevSecOps, help them really apply security at scale at the right insertion points, and to truly have the peace of mind that they have their critical applications appropriately secured.
Well, following on from that quite nicely, then, it'd be great if you could share with us a few best practice examples there.
Sure. I think the first place to obviously start is to ensure that you have a good plan for security, and the logical starting point is to make sure that you have the right visibility. And to use an analogy, you can't catch what you can't see. So it's critical to have visibility into all your assets, into how those assets are deployed, which is where the compliance angle comes in. So with using the Prisma Cloud suite of products, you can have instantaneous visibility into the cloud compliance posture. We provide capabilities called a cloud management database, which tracks every single asset, the roles associated with those assets, when those assets changes. This gives a very fine-grained level and granularity and visibility into for SOC teams to ensure that they have the right visibility, the compliance posture for all of these applications. The next step is to ensure that they have a single platform capability to address their entire application stack. And when I talk about an application stack, we envision it in the concept of virtual machines, in the context of container platforms, containers, as well as serverless. So they need the ability to apply uniform security capabilities across their entire application stack. And now the next aspect of this is if you're lucky enough to have the right posture in terms of visibility, compliance, and runtime security, you are flooded with a lot of alerts. And it's so often the case that SOC teams are just in a situation of analysis paralysis. So you need the ability to have surface high fidelity alerts, which is what the Prisma Cloud platform provides this capability to SOC teams to say, here are the high fidelity alerts. And then you also want to make sure that you have automation and remediation workflows, which is surfaced through the Cortex XOR, which is the security orchestration and automation and remediation platform. So this gives unprecedented ability for the SOC teams to focus on the truly critical vulnerabilities and perform the forensic workflows, and gives them the leverage to actually remediate where appropriate and then investigate where they need to. And the last piece of this puzzle, which is a very critical piece, is the DevSecOps angle. I mean, DevOps is moving at a rapid pace, and we need to ensure that security teams meet the DevOps teams where they are according to how their requirements are. And what that means is, identifying vulnerabilities in the deployment, in the build and deploy phase, as opposed to the runtime phase. Gartner recently put out a report which said that 95 to 96% of vulnerabilities and exploits that happen in the cloud are the customer's responsibility. So what that means is there are a whole bunch of misconfigurations, and it's not unreasonable, and the cloud is very complex. So they look to teams and products such as the Prisma Cloud capabilities, which allow security teams and DevOps teams, more importantly, to perform infrastructure as code scanning for their CloudFormation templates, as well as their Terraform templates, to identify misconfigurations like you're deploying a database. Is the database exposed to the cloud? Make sure that the database is encrypted. Make sure that your web tier can only talk to your application tier, and so on. But the ability to detect and correct these configuration issues in the build and the deploy phase dramatically reduces the cost, both in terms of efficiency, operationally, reputation, before these assets are deployed in the cloud. So using these capabilities, the Prisma Cloud platform truly addresses from a breadth perspective and a depth perspective, and meets security teams where they need in terms of agility, in terms of DevSecOps, to secure their critical line of business applications in the cloud.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you say, it's a really complex subject, and thank you so much for going into so much detail. It's been great getting your insights today, Vinay, so thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Hannah.